This is the Rampage Premade Finals podcast. Two teams in finals are RM2 Solar and Long Live Bliss and Viper, if I got that order correct. So with us, we have me and Randojoe as hosts.
Hello.
And then we have Dallas from RM2 Lunar.
Hello.
Let me go down the list so I don't forget anyone. We have Hbrwhammer. Wait, were you on a team, Hebrew? I forget.
Competitive.
Okay, CR. I was like, I knew you were on a team, but I can't remember which one.
I was on,
Oh, hold on. Didn't
I was
RMTL
on
beat
CR. We lost to
CR?
RMTL in the quarters.
Yeah.
They got first rounded. Feels bad.
We lost to the good RMT.
We nearly got first rounded. Honestly, we were one team fight away from getting first rounded.
Introductions, man.
Okay,
Don't
okay.
start the flame
All right,
wars.
and then we have Kardi from LLB and V. We have
Hello.
and then we have Neversaw from RM2 Solar,
Yo.
and then we also have Toddy also from LLB and V.
Dab.
Never dab on stream again, please.
So this
Double
is
dab.
if you watch the open podcast, this is similar to that one. We're gonna talk about the player stats first, individual stats, and then talk about both teams, their strengths and weaknesses, and then at the end we'll just do predictions, what we think will happen in the finals.
Real.
So, do you guys want to do it by team, or just go through both players at the same time from both teams? It's up to you.
I think both players like
I
each
like just do
role.
rolls.
All right.
Roll by roll.
So
yeah,
this
like
is-
lane by
this-
lane.
Starting.
So it's pre-made, so I tried to put the roles together, though some people have played more than one role. But
We
for
can
the
tell you who played what.
yeah,
We
for
probably want to do starters.
the most part,
Is,
yeah, I started with starters. For the most
Do
part,
you
they are
guys know?
in
Do you guys know
order.
if Mythic is going to be starting in finals, so we can compare him to Kador?
He probably won't. It'll probably be
Alrighty.
high guy by, so we'll get tilted
Hey,
again.
no asking for strats on a podcast.
Yeah, no strats, no strats.
Especially
My
with a
bad.
member of the opposing team here.
Oh no, it's scouting. It's such
Oh,
big
no.
chat.
Dallas scouting
might
for
as,
his
we
sister
might as
team.
well rename the league to 3-0 Esports. Like, it's just gonna be easy claps.
Oh no.
All right,
Alrighty, let's
we'll
start
start. We'll
with
start
No
with
trash
top. Yeah.
talking other leagues.
So top lane we have Toddy, who we have here on LLBMV, and then we have Borden23 on RM2 Solar. So for stats we have KDA, we have gold per minute, damage per minute, vision, and then games played to sort of show how many games. Because some players have a lot less than others, and some have a lot more. So what
Borden
do we
with
think
Fashion.
about? Okay, well yeah, let's go with who. So between these two, who do we think who's winning the matchup? And does
Borden.
it depend on the champs?
Toddy's
I'm
not
pretty
on
sure I
opposing
smashed
division.
him last time. Like, I'm pretty sure I, like, smashed him.
So I think how the matchup goes is like it's kind of like dependent in lane. It's kind of dependent on what champions. I think it's a little more Toddy favored than Bordon. However, if you go like outside of the lane and start getting into like team play and stuff, I'm gonna have to give that one to Bordon.
But I'll split push you to death.
Toddy's gonna get on
be allowed to
Fiora.
talk in this section.
I mean,
I
they've
know
never actually gotten the chance to play against each other. Both
they have.
matchups.
Once.
No, because
They played
Bordon was in the
once.
jungle.
Oh yeah, he was.
Oh.
Yeah,
Toddy
he was in
was-
the jungle,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And then
So
let's
was
see.
Kador
That's
top then?
true.
No,
No,
they
we had
had,
our
Count
sub
Riviera.
agency.
Oh,
Count
okay.
Riviera was
Count
there
Riviera.
that week.
Count Riara in the first one.
Yikes.
And then I don't think
We didn't
Tony
have
was
our
there the second.
support or
Toddy might have been banned during the second one.
Yeah, because Bliss was because then Bliss was playing top before he got banned.
Oh, I
And
forgot.
then-
I
That's
forgot Bliss
definitely
played
right.
top.
That's definitely right, yeah.
I
Oh
think
wait,
our
was
last
that the
series,
game
you
where
guys-
Bliss has the clip of killing 3 of you in one dive?
Oh, that was our first series.
Yeah, that was the
was-
9-3.
Holy
That was the
no.
9-3-6 Cho'Gath versus
Dude,
the
Bliss was getting dick so hard.
Yeah, but
And
then
then
he dicked
just
you.
like
You're saying you're dicking someone, you got dicked by him.
no, like
Okay,
our
boys, neither of
what
these
was it?
players are even playing next week.
Wait, no, Bordon was the top laner at
Oh, it
that
was
time.
okay. This
Remember
wasn't
the
the.
legend.
He
this
was
wasn't
like, yeah,
Cat's
he
game,
was
okay.
playing Darius into Cho'Gath. He was like winning hard, and then
Well,
I
yeah,
made the call
if
for
he
a
wasn't
really
winning
bad
hard, I'd
dive.
flame him.
Yeah, that was my call that caused us to get triple killed. So I'm gonna take
Well,
the
at least
blame
now
for
we
that
know-
one.
That's unfortunate.
Take the quick L, lad.
I think Bordon can definitely win this though, because even Reese was able to hold his own for the most part against Toddy. And Bordon.
I don't know what Bordon plays, so that's...
Yeah, does Borden- Does
Most
he
of the
play?
tanks
Does
have
he play
Reese is
way
tanks?
better.
Does he
If
tank
he
like
plays
a tank?
tanks, then just give me like GP and it'll be 1v5.
Oh, the Toddy GP. I want to see
Like
that.
No, yeah, I think
GP,
Bordon's
Cassio,
way
I'll
better
just
than Reese.
absolutely... I'll destroy him.
You think Borden's better than Reese?
Yeah, and Reese was able to hold his own against Toddy. So I think
think,
if
Whoa,
Reese can hold his own against Toddy, then I think Bordon can win.
Wait, did we just consider Reese a good top laner? Is that what just happened?
I said he can hold his own because he could. For the
Yeah,
most
so
part.
I
that doesn't
think,
bode well
Everyone
for
can
Bordon.
hold their own
Whoa,
on a take if you take
hold
Randojoe.
on.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
the Flame Reese, but
Yeah, and also I picked Cassio to counter his Gnar,
Kardi, you can talk. Your
Then-
mic's fine.
Yeah, but everyone's so
He-
loud.
but he's just garbage
Just,
at the
just
game.
tell,
So why
just,
even let him
tell him
talk?
to stop. Just tell him to be quiet. Here.
okay, Toddy, stop
All
talking.
right.
You're
Let your
No.
teammate talk.
Let's go. I think if we give Toddy like a good pick into the tanks, I don't think that Bordon's gonna actually beat him in lane. And it really just depends if Toddy like overextends like he normally does in semis, especially.
Okay.
So hopefully we can try to like, I don't know, ban junglers that don't gank as heavy.
That makes sense. Yeah, Toddy definitely sometimes overextends. He's.
Mostly.
Game 2.
Yeah,
At you.
I'm remembering far back into Ascension too. But this is a long.
I'm just thinking
Oh,
of
you remember-
Urgot.
Yeah, that was.
This is a Toddy thing.
Well, our
That
whole
was a
plan
fun
got ruined at like level 1 because our trio just like absolutely got trashed.
Your trio, as in like.
The trio that flashed.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh,
yeah,
right, that
level
invade.
1.
Oh,
The invade,
no.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that
Kardi,
was
why
so
did
funny.
you speak on this? Because you flashed too.
The insane
I was the
invade.
first one to flash because I didn't want to die for stupid mistakes.
Stupid
And then
player.
everyone followed the leader. So.
Everyone else just did it because they wanted to be cool.
Yeah, that was an interesting way to start there.
We had 5 down there.
That was so funny.
We should have showed like 2 and then had the rest just come after and flashed after them got first blood.
I think the
NXT.
flash is good enough though, but
I thought the
back
game was
on
over.
this.
Well, yeah, but
It was. The game was over from then.
but the point was to just camp top and win the matchup. And then if I won that matchup, we literally could have just hard won the game, but we didn't. Like the whole plan fell apart within the first 2 minutes of the game.
What happens?
So
I think we were like really aggressive, like across the map too.
But like
for
my
that
Nasus, I played Nasus really well because he played a tank, and like you just give me Nasus and I'll shit on
All
him
right,
too.
all right. You only won that. You
Alright.
only won that last game because I missed my
Okay.
duel with
alright,
Sandra.
enough of this
let's move
RNGL
into the
versus
jungle.
LB and V.
One thing I will say,
Let's move into the
Toddy,
jungle.
you need to ward more. This is like Dawn levels of ward in top lane.
I just want to. Okay, yeah. On that
Add
point,
the-
Gordon has 11 more vision score than Toddy. Just gonna. On average,
Not 11,
just getting
12.
flamed
That's almost
everywhere.
a 12
Oh.
average.
it's almost 12. Yes, he's so.
Okay, well now you can flame Toddy. We'll go
That's
into
all
the
I'm
jungle.
saying. That's all I'm saying.
All right,
If
so
he
I
just
don't.
plays tank, I'm gonna destroy him. Like hello.
All right.
All right, so for
So-
jungle, LB, they've had a couple of junglers this season. This is the newest guy, so he hasn't played a lot.
Oof.
And then we also and then
So-
we have Kador on RM2 Solar.
All
So what
right,
about these this
from
matchup?
from experience playing against both, I think Kador definitely wins, especially knowing that High Guy tilts a lot. Even just losing a crab tilts him. Like Kador is a very level-headed person and he's very calm. He knows how to, for the most part, besides him yelling and smashing keyboards, he's very.
Besides him destroying his house, he's pretty level-headed.
like he doesn't get tilted, but he gets like really excited and hyper.
Oh god, yes.
All right, well,
I've
so
been
wait,
with him,
can we
like-
take Hebr's
goodness.
suggestion? Just go down the list. So Dallas.
Yeah,
So Hebrew.
fi-
Anything
that's
else,
fine, that's
Dallas?
No, I just think Kador is gonna win. Also, High Guy only plays like 3 champions.
All right. So Hebrew. What do you think?
I mean, who knows? I mean, this is like what the 13th jungler for LLB and V.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to matter. It pretty much seems to just everything
Hey,
seems
we've
to be
had
a
basically
plug and play
top
role with
laner
them.
and one support.
Cardis is 5th.
You wanna go last?
mean,
is that
fifth
what you mean?
jungler.
Oh, fifth jungler. Okay.
I assume he means 5th jungler.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
guys have had a
Kador
lot of
had-
junglers.
Kador had a decent enough semifinal, but I still am waiting to see what happens when he actually runs up against a decent jungler. I just haven't seen it happen yet, so I don't really know where to go with it.
Okay, Cardi. What about you?
Wait, he played Boostedly
Um,
Sin.
I
He's
think
bad.
High Guy Bai will beat him in like pathing, but it just kind of depends on if we draft winning lanes because obviously we don't want to get him like already
That's the reason
traded.
why we struggled a lot versus RMTS or RMTL, because we just picked to scale.
Yeah.
We didn't pick to like beat Charlie. If we picked to beat Charlie, we could have tried to do that, but there was no point with y'all's champ pools.
Yeah, I think individually Hbrwhammer wins, but I think as a team, maybe Kador plays a little bit better. Not much.
Joe, any thoughts on this one?
Ban Rengar.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ban Rengar as well.
Wasted
Rengar.
ban.
From
Wasted
watching the
ban.
DLC set,
Chloe, just play Poppy. The fuck?
from watching the DLC set, Kador like pops off on counter ganks with Rengar, and like that was like, barring them not having a top laner, or the starting top laner on DLC, right?
Like,
that series.
Everyone said he was like their star player.
Kador was able to counter gank BLS a bunch, and that was like, in my opinion, one of his strengths. But it was basically only on Rengar, so I think if you ban Rengar, I don't expect the same thing to happen.
Are you leaking strats on a podcast?
That's
Right.
not strats, bro.
Neversaw, what's your?
I'm an outsider.
Yeah, so honestly, I think like for the most part, Kador like really plays like well with the team. So I think that's like his main thing going to him. He's not like individually better than most of the junglers, or at least maybe not most, but a good chunk of them. But the fact that he can work effectively with the team and we can coordinate things well makes it so then that I would give him the advantage matchup.
Toddy?
What do you want my opinion on?
Just between the two players, who you think wins? Either like ganking or like team fights, different scenarios. If you have opinions.
Our jungler is very like selfish and like he is. He's just a very selfish and greedy player, but he can get away with it. And you saw him get away with it last series. He got away with it, and he just like smashed once he got the Graves. He didn't want the Graves initially. Like he just didn't want to play it.
Greedy, do you mean as in like invading, or what do you mean by greedy? Or like taking
Uh,
kills, like
No, like
Farm
when
heavy.
farming?
he's very farm heavy.
Okay.
Like that's why he did so well on Graves, and he was just able to like pick up random kills, and we won the game off of his snowball. We wouldn't. I don't think we would have won game 3 if he wasn't that far ahead.
I thought his Graves seemed
he
fine
really cared.
for him not wanting to
Yeah,
play.
to be fair, our coach told him to farm. Like we didn't just say,
he was
hey,
getting
just farm. Like
tilted.
our
Like
coach
even
told
though
him.
he was ahead, he was getting tilted because he wasn't getting crabs. He was just tilted. It was so stupid.
I see.
Bottom of this kid to shut the hell up.
Y'all gotta get this mental.
Any
He's got a
final
worse mental than me.
any
forehead.
final thoughts on these? They both have okay vision scores for junglers. Not too bad.
Oh no, I'm waiting for the mid laners. This is where I
All
shine.
right, well, it's next. All right, so we'll go down.
No, I'm gonna get flamed for this one.
So here we have Hbrwhammer, though he has shared some playtime with other people.
Who am I?
Hbrwhammer. I always say Hbrwhammer. Hbrwhammer. And then Neversaw on RM2 Solar. So we'll start with Dallas again.
Don't forget Royal Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
you should
so-
definitely
I won't.
throw Royal in
He's
there.
he's down the line. He's down the
So-
line.
I mean, I don't think we need to go through subs, do we?
I mean, no, I want to because LLBMV has actually used their subs quite a bit. they use their players quite a bit, like all of their
I mean,
players.
Royal played the whole semifinals. So.
Yeah.
And RMTS hasn't used 2 of their subs.
No.
Anyways,
They just
so
exist.
I think pretty much. I think Neversaw wins if LLB don't ban his champs. I think he's a stronger solo laner. He's very good
Even
with
better
team.
than Moon.
Probably. Don't cut me off, XD. He's better following up with team plays with his team and coordinating stuff around the map, given his champ pool. I think Wu can give him a struggle because they pretty much have the exact same champ pool. So,
Pretty similar,
so if
Similar, yeah.
you ban something off Neversaw, you're banning something off of Wu, and vice versa. So shrinking one person's pool will shrink the others, and then it gives them a lot less options on what either of them want to play. But if Moon's playing, then it's a whole different story because then they can target ban Josh or Neversaw and actually effectively pinch him, and still leaving a lot of strong champions that Royal Moon plays up that he's really good at carrying on. So yeah, I think team-wise, Neversaw wins, but if team-wise, Neversaw wins no matter what.
Man, why does
lane-
everybody say that team-wise they win? Like,
lane
we
matchup.
play
lane
the
matchup,
best
Moon
match
wins.
out of
Toddy.
Don't cut him off.
Toddy, wait your turn, dog.
And then lane matchup, Moon will probably win 1-on-1, and I'm not sure who wins between Wu and Neversaw.
Yeah, I don't have too many opinions because I haven't seen Wu play that much. I am interested. Like, this is the most interesting matchup for me because they do have a similar champ pool like Dallas says. So I'm excited to watch this one the most out of all of the lanes. And I do think that Wu probably has a stronger laning phase than Neversaw does, just from the couple of games I've watched him play.
What's a laning phase?
Before the first tower is taken, basically. That's laning phase.
Yeah.
So it could be any amount of time, depending on when the first tower is taken. It could be really long
Thank
and
you
really
for
short.
that.
Solid 5-minute lane phase.
So that's my opinion. What about you, Hebrew?
All right.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Hebrew's
hijack
ready.
this for a second. I'm ready for this.
You're ready.
So
Give us some stats, baby.
let's stop talking about opinions because they don't matter. All right. This is
Max don't
we've
care about
seen
opinions.
this. We've seen this matchup. We've seen it before with all three of these mid laners. And the interesting thing is we heard Dallas talk about, if they ban Josh's stuff. But the thing is, LLB and V in their various iterations are the only team in both of their series, the only people that banned Galio was RMTS. Both times that Josh has played Galio, he got destroyed. First by Moon with 707 on Viger, and then by who was 6-0-7 on Malzahar. So they don't care. They don't care about his Galio. It's just not a thing. Like the Rengar's been through for Kador. Again, they didn't care. Like you go through this, and Josh has had a great season. I'm not going to take that away from him. He's a fantastic laner, but LLB&V just works better. Like when it comes to the mid lane matchups, who's not going to feed? Royal's not going to feed. They're not going to give Neversaw for most of the time. They're just not going to give him that chance for him to get the solo kills and to spiral out of control. So it's going to come down to whether or not Neversaw can find a way to roam around the map. But from what I've seen in both of the matches and from playing both of them, I just don't think he's going to get the same opportunities to do what he does in other games in this matchup.
Okay.
So essentially, my enemy laner isn't going to int me.
Yeah, pretty much. You're not going to do to you what I do to you, where I just I'm looking for like a TP top lane and I'm just AFK running through the mid lane right into you. Like,
Whoops.
oh crap,
Yeah.
Josh was there. My bad.
All right, Kardi.
Yeah.
I mean, we gave them legit like one of the best team comps that they could have asked for with Galio, Rakan, like Ornn and Rengar, and especially with the Sivir pick too. So I don't think team-wise they can beat us like as a team. And
Don't forget
if
that
we
was with
just-
Panda. That wasn't
I was
with
about to
Yeah, I
say,
know,
I'm sorry,
I
I'm
know.
gonna have to cut you off real fast about the fact that we like, based on the teammates that we've had, it's kind of been like, as a team.
you pulled a plat
It's
ADC
been-
down and put him on a
still
gold
have
account. It's fine.
But either way, like I'm not worried about the like picks. We can just ban Josh out like we did the other times, and it's gonna have the same result. If we could just get Josh on Lux again, then it's fine. Like
You think I'm gonna make that mistake again?
what, blinding Lux into a Fizz? Probably. I don't know.
You
Ooh,
did
that
say
does
you
not sound
weren't
like
afraid
Lux.
of his fizz anymore. You quoted, "I'm not
If
afraid."
I'm on Lux, I am
You-
afraid because Lux is just one of the worst matchups I've ever played, and I permaban it for a reason.
Yeah,
Respect.
just be aware. Like we're just gonna 3-ban Josh first rotation. Like it's not a big issue.
Yeah, I honestly agree with him.
All right, Joe.
Can we-
Any thoughts on this one?
I'm just curious about what's gonna happen with Galio nerfs and if anybody's still gonna play it afterwards. Other
No.
than Galio, I don't know much about you guys,
Wait,
so I
isn't
don't
that,
want to
like,
say too much
half
about
his
the
pool?
matchups.
I mean, last time they nerfed Galio, it ended up
But-
being broken. So
but
All right, Neversaw.
It's true.
You can defend yourself now, or
I
I don't
think
know.
mostly my
No.
I'm gonna do some quick defending of myself, but not hard defending. Mostly because like the games that I have played against them, we haven't really been functioning as a team because our first time we had like the bot lane was holy crap. Didn't like I was about to quit the team. That's how bad it was.
already
That was
quit
our
the
first
team.
series. And then our second series, we actually had our main ADC back, and we had a sub support. I think it was Bang Bus, who's
Yeah, it was.
all right. He's all right. But we also had our sub ADC who like she's not that great at the game. No offense if you can hear this, but it's mostly just like when she's playing, especially in off role, which was the top lane, there wasn't much we could really do in that sense. We just couldn't really work as a team. So that's why also I'm excited to see this matchup because this time both of our like my team is a lot more prepared. Like most of us actually met up IRL. So we got that going for us, the IRL synergy.
That's cool.
But also just like we're finally clicking as a team, and so I want to be able to use that time that we're clicking as a team and see if we can actually have what it takes to win. But as for specifically this lane, if it's Woo, I don't care. If it's Royal, I care. That's basically it.
Interesting. Okay. What about you, Toddy?
Okay, well, I'm gonna continue on what I was saying earlier when Dios was speaking. What was it? That y'all think that we don't have the reason why we picked late game comps because we knew we could just outplay people late game. We just work really well as a team. We've played together. Like a lot of these players, like me, Homie, and Kardi, we're on 2 different teams. Dallas is on that team as well. Like we've played together for a long time, so playing with each other is really easy. After playing with each other for such a long time, especially like Wu is on the other team as well. We all just play together a lot. There's just a lot of team cohesion between us. It's not like a bunch of random players got stuck together and like the rest of the league, basically.
Mhm. Yeah, we can talk about that later on with teams.
But
Yeah,
mid,
the team synergy.
I kind of agree with what somebody was saying earlier that mid is gonna be the same between. It's gonna be pretty similar, especially if Galio nerfs come through before finals.
They are.
They are okay. Well, then they're
Yeah,
gonna
they
have
will
it
be.
almost identical pools. I think like as long because whatever his name is doesn't play Galio. Wu doesn't play Galio. Royal does. He
Okay.
finally played Galio.
Mm.
We were okay. Here, I'll let y'all know on this from the scoop. We were gonna put me mid and then have Wu or then have Royal top because I could play Galio because he's super easy. And then he realized, holy crap, this champion's easy and broken.
Yeah.
He told me
That's why
about
everyone
that
hates
the other
Galio.
day.
Yeah.
And now
No,
he's
everyone
just
did.
easy.
I know it's just easy. All right, so let's move on to ADC. So we have X Homie for LLBMV and then Tyler for RMTS Solar. So we'll start with Dallas again.
RMTS Solar.
And they played
Homie,
about the same amount of games. What's that?
homie greater than Tyler in 90% of matchups because when you're talking about ADCs, you also have to consider the support. And you have to consider the support that they're laning with, and Kardi's by far the better support. Can easily get Homie more leads.
We knew it was coming.
I don't think Tyler can 1v2 this lane in any way. Kardi and Homie will definitely be able to push, especially with Homie's champ pool that can play at a safer range and can also go super aggressive. I think this bot lane is just going to be a blowout unless some miracle happens. That's it.
Yeah, I don't have too many opinions. I mean, I would say the same thing that like I do think Tyler's a good ADC, especially for it. I think this is his first season of ranked or like first season of playing or close to that
Competitive.
of competitive. So I mean, I think in that sense he's pretty good for it being his first season of playing competitive. But yeah, I don't know if he's good enough to 1v2 a lane against Kardi Homie. I just don't know if that's gonna happen. So that's about my only thought on the matter. Hebrew.
I mean, if we're only talking about ADCs, I think Tyler's the better ADC in this matchup. At bot lane as a whole, this is by far the biggest difference in any of the lanes between these two teams. And I think, there's two certainties coming from RMTS bot lane. Tyler will get kills, Battleini's going to die, and whether or not Tyler can get enough kills to compensate for the deaths in lane, I don't know. I mean, if the engage, Kardi loves to play as engaged champs, and if they can snowball this really quick from the bot lane, it's quite possible that before laning phase is over, the game's over.
All right, Kardi, any thoughts on the ADCs?
I would say they're pretty equal, but I've only played against Tyler when he plays like early game champions like Lucian and Draven, and especially when he had Bang, it was really easy because Bang plays the same champions as me. So I feel like the laning from last time is not going to be the same as like the laning is this time. I'd really like to see Tyler like pull out more late game this time, even if Lucian's broken, because we are just going to outscale him with what we do. But I would say they're pretty even for now.
All right, Joe.
You okay, Joe?
Any thoughts
I'm okay.
as an ADC? ADC main. Have you seen either of these? I mean, we watched.
I've watched
Tyler.
some games of both.
Oh, no, we watched Homie.
I was impressed by Tyler watching him play.
Yeah, Tyler's good. Tyler's a
His
good
vein
ADC.
is nice.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying too much attention to bot lane watching the series Monday, so I don't know much about Homie. But even just like looking at I'm looking at their champ pools right now, and I feel like Tyler has an advantage, and based just off of seeing him having played Vayne and playing it well, who's really strong right now. I feel like if it were a 1v1, I would give it to Tyler.
So he needs to go for a Vayne Kaisa, not a Lucian, like Kardi. Kardi was saying. Neversaw.
Yeah, so actually following up on that, we kind of reached the same conclusion as a team when it came to that. For like after our first game versus VR, like you can see, like we had the early leads, we were winning, and then like we just, I honestly, I think I know the reason why, but I'm not gonna mention what like the specifics of what went wrong, but essentially having him on early game champions, like, yeah, you're going to win early, but the problem was that when we got to mid-late game, we just didn't have enough work all around. Like, it just wasn't working. So we put him on, in that case, Vayne, because he was, like, good at Vayne. Vayne was broken, or still is broken, and it worked. So we've kind of been sticking with more late-game champions, since it seems to be working out. But as for the actual ADCs, I personally have to give it to Tyler. I think that he is the better ADC here, and while Homie is definitely not bad in any regards, I think Tyler is just a bit better, and when like as the game goes on longer, I think he'll definitely outdo. Not the 2v2 lane though, but that's the talk for support.
Toddy.
Okay, I have a question. How high do you value RMTL's AD carry? How good do y'all think he is?
In like from me playing on RMTL,
Who was our AD carry? I forget. I'm so bad with
Kiora.
names.
Kiora was our ADC.
Oh yeah, Kiora is really good.
Kiora's
Wait,
a really good.
Yeah,
He's a really good laner. Very
he
good
was
laner.
he was probably our second most valued carry, if not our first. In most games, he was our
I
first.
think he was first. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kiora's a really good laner.
There were games where I was the carry, but like 90% of the games, he was who we relied on.
I think he was the best player on the team.
Yeah, I did too. But
rank wise, no.
I was gonna say
skill,
because
yes.
he because Homie played fairly well into Kiora. I mean, excluding the first couple games because it was like growing pains in my opinion, because they were just like sucking it up. But then once we cleaned up our early game, we picked Sever finally. We started to actually have some good results. We picked Sever and then they started killing y'all, and then the whole game became like 20 times easier. You didn't have to worry about a fed freaking AD carry. But then but he held well against Kiora, which is respected as, well, not really well. They kind of got trash, I guess. But I remember in one of the games that he popped off on Ezreal. He played really well in an Ezreal game.
Homie did.
And I thought, yeah, homie.
Yeah.
He played really well in an Ezreal game. He won like 12-3, and he carried it pretty significantly. But the only issue I could see is Kardi trolling.
All right. Well, let's go into the supports then. So we have Kardi, and then Vadalini for RM2 solo. So Dallas.
No comment. Kardi wins. Kardi wins 130,000 games at 130,000 games.
Yeah.
Flat out. That's the end of it for me. There's nothing really else to say. The only thing that Vadalini actually has over Kardi is vision score.
Yeah.
But like she has double the deaths, and Kardi still has more assists and kills, higher gold, higher damage. Also, the champ pool is just way better for getting carries ahead. Like Hbrwhammer is way better for getting people ahead than Rakan Nami can be. Unless like you're godlike at those two champs.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that Kardi wins individually every time, but I think the bigger problem is the fact that he plays Alistar, like stuff like Alistar Thresh. If he was like a great support and played like Lulu or something, or like something like that, I think it would matter less. But the fact that he plays Alistar Thresh really well just makes it that much harder for Vadalini as a support. Hbrw. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it was Lulu, it would be a different story. But like Ali, like Thresh, like that's an issue.
Yeah. I mean, we're all pretty. I think we all pretty much. I mean, it's in the ranks alone. I mean, it's the highest difference between two players in this whole thing, and the champs that they played just it's not going to be a good matchup for Vadalini, and the best way to equalize vision scores for Kardi to just kill her over and over and over.
Yeah. Kardi, any comments?
She has a higher vision score than me. I think she's the superior support, and I need to start playing safer in lane.
You need to ward
None of
more.
that is going to happen.
Okay, so to defend myself with the warding, my games aren't as long as hers, okay? So like
We had a
hard.
64 minute
He actually has a
game.
good team.
I mean,
he
I guess
actually has a
that's
good
fair.
team that
I
can,
guess that's
win
fair.
other lanes besides it,
I
That doesn't
kill.
do
Okay,
1v9.
so if we go back to like week 1, I had like a 23-minute game, but like I was 1-0 and like 15. You know what I mean? Like I can't ward very much, so that's like my numbers in KDA is like what expresses how I play.
Makes sense. Joe, any thoughts?
Kardi's champ pool is better.
Yeah. Neversaw.
Kardi.
Toddy.
Are you seriously asking me this question?
I mean, anything you want to add besides Kardi?
Oh, God damn!
I would like to add something.
This
Be
is
different.
like
Don't pick Kardi.
Wait, I picked Vadalini. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, that's true. Kardi said Vadalini. He said he needs to be safe friendly.
I really think that Kardi is what makes us a lot better. He's even though he was being pretty arrogant in his power ranking, saying that he was the best player in the league, I genuinely think he is, because he's like everyone's saying like, yeah, we're pretty close lane by lane, like everyone's fairly even. I mean, 80 carries a little bit to them. Jungle, like it's like everybody's got their own little niche things they say about every little lane, but then when you come to support, it's just like, how do you even compete with this? Like, come on, bro. I'm not trying to stroke my guy's ego, but like, it's what's happening.
You don't need to stroke facts.
Yeah, honestly, that's what it is.
Kardi's ego blew up from inflation years ago.
All right, so
Years
let's.
ago, you mean months ago?
We can go to subs now. So and they're not subs. I mean, in Premade they're all considered part of the teams. These are just players that don't play as much. They're not the starters. So we have Mythic from LLBMV and then Count Riaria. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly.
Count Riaria, yep.
From RM2 Solar. So
I don't really expect Count Riaria to even play a game in playoffs. Same with the other two for Solar. I think it's easier to just do all three of the subs, especially because I don't think many of them are gonna play for Solar.
yeah, we can just talk as a
Yeah,
group with
I wanted
these.
to
We
make
don't
that
have
point
to
as
go.
well.
We
If
don't
I
have to
could-
go on
Yeah,
the line.
'cause-
Just talk as a group. Like we don't have
'cause
to.
If I could say
I think-
something.
I think
Yeah.
Mythic and Moon are the only two that'll probably end up playing, maybe.
Okay.
Okay. Pretty much I'm just gonna briefly mention Count Riaria because we don't have anyone else that's gonna play. The other 2 people on our roster just exist. Don't know how they got there. They got there. They exist. But she's what is it, an 80 carry player, and considering that we have Tyler, there's just not really a place for her to play. Like, there just isn't a reason at all to play her.
That makes sense.
So, like, I mean, would you replace Tyler with somebody else if
Yes.
you
Kiora.
had the option?
I mean, if you wanted
Okay,
somebody
Kiora
less
maybe,
toxic,
yes,
yeah.
but
You're 100%.
Viper Fang 02.
Jesus.
Wait,
yeah,
you mean Grog? Wait, what?
that's pretty much all for that.
Put Bliss in.
That's
He's actually
basically all
not a
the
bad
comment you'll
idea.
need for Count Riaria, and we can just go over the
Okay,
LB and
so let's
V
just
people.
the other ones are Moon Royal for LBNV, and then Bard One Trick, aka Athena,
And
who I
Mythic.
did not know was Athena for like until very recently. Didn't realize that was Athena.
Athena's just along for the yellow.
So any thoughts about like Royal, Mythic, or Athena?
For Mythic, I had him playing, I believe, quarters with us, and he completely ghosted me. So I do not think he's gonna play him.
Okay.
Don't give him the yellow name if you win.
Yeah, like an hour before the
I'd
game, I
rather give
asked,
it
"Are
to
you ready?"
Vadalini. I'd rather give it to Vadalini, honestly.
No,
Yeah.
you can't do that. I'm your cheerleader. I want it.
Give it to Hebrew.
But an
No.
hour before quarters, I asked if he was ready, and he said yeah. And then game time came, and we were 10 minutes late, and he never showed up.
Oh shit.
So
So when did he play for you guys? Was that regular season?
Never.
that was like
He's never
toward the
played
end of the
golf.
regular season.
Yeah, he has.
Oh, wait, no, he
He's
played one game.
He
once.
played a couple games.
He played two.
Yeah.
One series.
Yeah,
During
one
the Camille
series.
game, he played a Camille game, and the best part about it was he was AFK for 3 minutes, but our opponents didn't know, so we were winning a 4v5 most of the game.
So
He was
no,
AFK for
no
a little bit longer
Mythic.
than that, so.
Yeah, I don't think Mythic will play.
What
honestly.
about Royal, since he just played?
Alright, he'll play. He's really good. He's a strong mechanical player.
Royal was really good. I've never watched him before, but he looks good. Watching him.
I think my opinion on this is that when it comes to the mid laners, personally, I don't really like I'm not that scared that much of probably the only laner that
You should be.
makes me a bit spooked is Rosin. But obviously he's gone. But Royal, I've played with him, I've played against him, so I know how he is, and the way he plays is decently hard counter to me in a way. Even if you don't ban out champions, he just inherently kind of counters a good chunk of what I do. And so that basically means if he's playing, it's harder for me to actually get something done. I honestly expect him to play, at least at some point during our finals match.
Forehead.
So he's definitely a good player, though. Definitely someone I'd consider a rival in the mid lane.
And then we said Athena's just along for the ride.
Essentially.
Well,
He played
Athena's
jungle
played
in
5
quarters.
games. He's played some games though.
He played jungle in quarters and nearly
Yeah.
lost the game because he's
Oh.
not a jungler.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I
No,
thought Athena was
okay,
a
here,
support,
let me
a
let me
support
speak
player.
on quarters right quick. I said some little bit about it earlier. We were literally one team fight away from not making semis, even though we were final bound team or whatever you want to call. We were one team fight away from not making semis.
Who was that
And
against?
that would have been
HGG.
HGG,
Oh,
the team
yeah.
that nobody knew
They
anything
had
about.
but they had a really good ADC when I watched that.
And jungler,
Their
they
ADC
had a
was
gold
really
one
good.
jungle and a gold one AD.
Maybe don't troll so much next time in a playoff series.
The only reason we won was because while we were losing the 4v5 fight mid, Athena went and grabbed 2 in him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was playing Jax, I think, and he
Yeah,
just
he was.
smurfed their inhibs.
That was the biggest sigh of relief after that game because I actually thought that we might lose.
I was happier winning
That would've
quarters
been
than I was
disappointing.
semis because it was so close.
And that matchup probably shouldn't have been that close considering
No, we should have had Mythic.
your team.
If we had Mythic,
Yeah, that was the game
hard.
Mythic just ghosted us.
Feels
That was
bad.
easy 2-0, just easy co-op.
Oh, didn't you have to pull in an E sub for that game or something?
No, we
they-
pulled in
they
a
had
sub Athena.
If Athena played in semis, that was an easy 3-0 XT.
And you still would have lost my game on.
Ooh.
Wait, Dallas, can I ask you a question? Did you smite? Did you actually smite?
Yeah, I don't think I think
I
I
don't-
smited
don't-
Lysandra.
Okay, yeah, I
How
don't
do you
think
smite that which is already dead?
I'm pretty sure I smited Lysandra because she E'd in and went right on top of the Baron and went right
okay.
over my cursor.
Hey, Smite in Minecraft does more damage to undead creatures, not the Baron, bro.
Yeah, wait. Yeah, you're right. You're
Yikes.
right. You're right.
Feels bad.
Alright, so
Maybe.
now that we've talked about the players, let's just go down the line and talk about what you think each team's strengths and weaknesses are, and then we can do predictions afterwards. So we'll start with
Alrighty,
we'll Dallas.
So the strengths of RMT Lunar, not bot lane.
Solar.
You mean solar?
Yeah,
Genius.
Yeah.
Taking your
Not
own
your
ego
team
there.
anymore.
Artie.
Lu-
Still
Lunar
thinks
strength-
he's in the finals. He thinks he won.
Clip.
Big
Yeah, Lunar
brain.
strength definitely is bot lane.
What
Solar's
you guys talking
strength.
about? I hit that smite.
Solar strength is not bot lane. Anything but bot lane. Everything else for them is solid and performs regularly, especially in playoffs. They've been very solid together between Bordon, Kador, and Neversaw. They've been the three hard carries with a bit of help from Tyler getting to late game with Vayne and such. For Long Live, it is bot lane with Kardi being one of the best players on the team. And then a solid mid lane performance. Their team play is very well thought out together. And now that they have Marco as a coach, their drafts are actually decent.
Yeah, we're no
Wait a
longer
second.
trying to hard win
Hard
first.
facts. Hard facts.
Literally,
Wait a
hard
second.
facts. Anyways, that's about it for me.
Alright, Hebrew,
Those drafts, though.
what do you think? What are the strengths and weaknesses of both teams?
I mean, we've talked a lot about like the mid lane matchup, but honestly, I think a whole lot of this for both of these teams is going to be dependent on what happens in the top.
Okay.
I think there's quite a bit of potential for either top lane to just snowball and things to get out of control, which honestly I think kind of favors Tawny, just because I see him play a lot more of those champions that can take that lead and take over a game versus a lot of the tanks that Bordon's probably going to pull out and use for team fighting, which I don't know if LMB even really needs to team fight to win this series.
Interesting.
No, we
Okay.
really don't. We don't need to touch them. We just need to keep them in like fingertip length.
Alright.
I mean, the mid lane's definitely a strong
Yeah.
point for
But if we have Moon in,
RMT's
it's
soul.
just like it's gonna be a little bit easier.
I mean, the mid lane's pretty much a toss up for me. The bot lane, I know we talked about the 2v2 kind of goes towards LLB and V, but I've seen Tyler do some pretty crazy crap over this season just on his own. So I don't know, but I think a lot of this is going to depend on what happens in top lane.
Neversaw, one of my viewers, Chefe says that you have an EU fan. He's your fan.
Oh,
After all this biased LLB talk.
That's a red flag. Never saw run.
Okay, so
Alright,
where's the bad
Kardi.
button on Twitch?
No, Chefe's nice. No, I know him from another Twitch channel. Alright, Kardi, what do you think for both teams? Strengths and weaknesses.
I think if Josh gets a champion that he's comfortable with, that's one of their main priorities, which gives them a little bit more confidence in their game. I mean, Tyler can get a lead in bot lane, but I kind of like, after watching him against DLC, I figured out how he plays. There's like a really aggressive side to him, and especially like if you throw out an ability and you miss, like he's just gonna go in, even if it doesn't seem like a good idea. I think the strength for LLB and D is definitely just CSing better than everybody across the map and just getting a gold lead that way, and then taking that lead into like potential team fights or objectives.
Okay, Joe, any thoughts on either team?
I agree mostly with Kardi. Honestly, like everything he said was pretty much what I wanted to say.
Okay.
Just about. The only thing I think is if Solar is able to spiral Tyler like super far ahead and be able to protect him in team fights, I think he'll be able to carry.
Mhm.
But not if he's not super far ahead.
All right, Neversaw. Oh no. All right, we'll go to Toddy first and
he's
see if
muted.
he.
He'll be-
Yeah. All right, we'll go to.
My team is very good. We're just gonna put faith into Tyler, and I'm gonna hard carry. Thanks, Neversaw.
That was Kardi's impression. All right, we'll do Toddy first, then see if
Pretty
Neversaw
good. That
comes
was
back.
I thought he was doing an impression
Sorry.
of
Oh, there's
Toddy at
Neversaw.
first.
Apologies.
Wait, he gets to
my
talk
dad had
twice? That's not
questions.
fair.
Okay. So what are we talking about again here?
Both
Talking
teams.
You
about
sucked at the game,
strengths,
what?
weaknesses.
Strengths and weaknesses.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna start off with LB and V. I think their strengths are that like they have two like solid mid laners, which is pretty nice. So they can go if they're both available, like you can go between them with ease, change what you're working with. Depending on like player, how they're doing, like if they're tilted or something, like you can just be like, all right, we got this other good mid laner, let's bring him in. So I think that's a nice point. Toddy's a good carry, like if he gets ahead, yikes. And then of course, like yeah, the bot lane difference with the support is pretty big. So I think it's like the support in top lane, support's definitely going to be like a strong point. Top lane's going to be highly dependent on matchup picks and just execution in game. And then mid lane is just probably going to be something that is dependent again on matchups and who's playing. As for my team, RMTS, I think strong points are ADC, really solid. And considering that he's just going to be getting like 1v2 lane the entire time, just have him on something that can make him relevant for the rest of the team. And meanwhile, me, Bordon, and Kador, we just work really well as a unit. We were the three who met up, so we got to know how each other work, and just like actually making things work. When somebody says do something, we get it done. Unlike before, where like somebody's calling something, somebody's just like, no, let's not do that. So I think that's definitely our strength, is the top side of the map entirely. There's just slight edges on our side, and then the bot lane is just going to be praying that Kardi doesn't run away with the game.
All right, Toddy, final thoughts on teams.
Well, I really think that we beat them team wise, just player v player. Also, I want to take into consideration how they actually got to finals. Okay.
Oh
They
yeah,
beat-
that's a
they-
good idea.
Oh boy,
They
here it
beat-
goes.
Oh boy,
They
here we go.
beat VR, who had
Without Weaver.
E-subs.
And
Yes.
they did not have Weaver, who when I posted power ranking before playoffs, I said is one of their strongest carries, one of their biggest win conditions.
Wait, for who? Which team? I'm sorry.
For
VR.
VR.
Oh, VR.
Weaver
Oh.
was
Their
one of their
corner.
best players. It was
Yeah, why
Weaver and
wasn't-
Gummy.
Weaver wasn't there.
No.
Oh,
And
okay.
VR only had 4 people in comms.
Yeah, like that's detrimental to any team. I don't care who you are, SKT or not. But then you go to DLC. They didn't have a top laner, which from
They'd have SJN, who was one of their biggest carries.
Yeah, Strand
Yeah.
is a good top laner.
Okay,
Yeah,
guys,
so,
I'm
like,
not
you
showing it for finals.
Yeah, it's Kardi.
Wow, it just got even easier for LLBV.
Oh,
they get Athena
anyway.
instead.
It's a Bard
Continue.
one trick time, baby.
Toddy, continue.
Yeah, he actually plays support, Pogs. But I think that they had a much easier playoff run than anyone could have really expected them to have. I think that they're really big underdogs and that their team played against much easier competition. So you're comparing them playing against easier opponents when you're comparing us playing against these harder opponents. We've played against a lot more challenging opponents than RMCS has had to face. Like we had to play against HEG, which really came out of nowhere with how well they played. Then we also had to play
off
ARM2.
Lunar or something.
They took a game off us.
No, I mean, like, didn't
Who'd
they
you
take a
put
game off
first?
VR, or take a series from VR or Lunar or one of them?
I believe
That
they
was
took
DLC.
DLC, I think.
DLC.
DLC took a
DLC
series
was
off
the one who
Lunar.
took a
I'm
series
pretty
off
sure
everyone.
HGG took a series off of VR.
No. DLC took a series off of us, and then in the last week of the season, they beat VR. DLC was the only team to take a game off of Lunar and DLC.
We were
and
talking
VR.
about HGG.
Oh, HGG took one game. No, they didn't beat them. They didn't beat any of us. We 2-0'd them twice, and the VR
Okay.
2-0'd twice. HGG got the lucky tiebreaker against, by the way.
I think what the
Lucky,
issue
by the
is, the issue when we played them was definitely the composition, because we were kind of just messing around in draft, and they ended up getting Shen, Camille, Galio, and Morgana, and the
their
Camille got
jungler
very
was
far
so
ahead, so there was nothing we could do because she was untouchable.
That game was hilarious to watch.
It was 14-2 at the end. That was very questionable.
Just watching those dives over and over. I
So awful.
Okay, well let's go into predictions. This is the
Predictions.
All right, let's go from bottom
Alright.
to top this time.
Alright, let's go
Toddy
Toddy first.
starts.
Toddy. Prediction. What do you
I
think the
already
score
said
will
it, baby.
be? Who's winning?
It's
What's
gonna,
the score?
Might as well rename to 3-0 Esports. It's 3-0 Easy Clap. I was the only good player on that team. Like, it's just gonna be Easy Clap. Like, like, holy
Wait,
shit.
Josh is here.
I don't care.
Aw.
Yeah,
I like
Yikes.
you, buddy.
Feels
I
bad.
like you too, but
Toddy
like,
shows his true colors. I love it.
yikes.
Alright.
Toxic 2K.
Neversaw. Prediction.
Toxic 2K.
Alright, so I'm gonna have to refute with you with the fact that me and Tyler have been getting pretty even time in the spotlight for who's the carry here. So thank you very much.
Whoops.
My personal I think that this is gonna be a closer series than people think. But I'm thinking if we're going to win this, it's going to be something like a 3-2 to us. I think if we have a shot at winning this is probably going to go to 5 games. Otherwise, it's probably like 3-1 to LOB and V.
Show
I
some
think we can at
confidence,
least
Josh.
manage
Come
to
on.
take a game off.
He's being real. Come on, let him be real.
I'm being realistic in what I've seen so far, and then I'm like, it's 100% possible for us to beat them.
So is your
It's just
prediction?
not going to be easy.
Is it 3-2 you guys or like-
3-2 RMTS.
Okay. Joe, what's your prediction?
I want to watch a 3-2 series.
All right.
I'm
Which
but-
team?
But,
Which
but,
team?
but I don't think we'll get 5 games.
All right.
I'm like, I would love to see a 3-2 for RTS, but I think it will be a 3-1 for LLBV.
All right.
I could see one game going in Solar favor.
Kardi.
3-1, not 2.
3-1.
I think it's 3-0 unless we really mess up like how we did with the 3 flashes in the Dragon Pit level 1. I think it's 3-0 unless we do something like that again.
Alright,
Agreeable.
so if no monkey calls, then it's 3-0.
Yeah.
Hebrew.
Okay, so I have 3 predictions.
Oh God, you have to pick one though.
You only
You
get
have to-
one.
You have to pick a final one, but you can
No,
give
no.
all 3.
Hang on. I've got reasons for each one.
DLC wins.
If this just goes straight up, it's just 3-0.
Okay.
If LOBMV trolls, it's 3-1. And if Randojoe is streaming, I hope it goes to 5 so I can make him sing Silver Scrapes.
I hate you.
So which one do you which one do
I
you
think-
think it'll be, Hebrew?
I think it'll be a 3-0.
Okay.
And I think that RMTS will put up 2 good games that, might actually be surprisingly close, but the LBV is just way too good in the late game, even when they're down. I mean,
All thanks to Kardi, Pogs.
I mean,
I have-
CR was 2-0 against RMTS, and they had a 10K gold lead. So
Yeah. I have one thing to say.
Mind you, CR didn't take a game off a top team. They only beat the RMTS.
Who has one thing to
Just
say?
to-
And they barely beat us.
Yeah,
Just
but
to one
RMTS hasn't beaten any top teams either.
1 in 5. 1 in 5.
5
They
FS.
beat CR.
And DLC.
Wait,
Three
They were
in
third
Division
place.
2.
They were third
Three.
place.
Yeah,
Can-
we're 4th.
Anyways, Julia, what is your
I'm
prediction?
three.
Someone
I'm
said they
3.
wanted to say something, but I don't
that
know.
was me.
Oh, okay. What do you
Yeah,
want to
go
say?
on, go on.
I would just like to point out how we were down, I think, 6 or 8 kills and 3 dragons, and we were still up in
7
gold.
kills,
So
1 dragon, and
Yeah.
we had just had towers and better macro.
I
Like that's
I think if they don't farm, or play lane correctly, then I think the game's over at that point.
They
Even if
have
they
to
get
like hard
dragons.
swipe on us early, and there has to be no like behind the back secret bets. Trying to no dragons.
All right, Hbr, no
Kardi.
bets.
Don't be rigging this finals. I would rather go out 3-0 than go out like 3-1 because you all were memeing.
Play it 100%. All right, I think it will be.
Okay, so you said 50% for Kardi.
Yeah, 50%. We're good.
Josh, I'll pay you $50 if you don't show up.
I think it'll be 3-1.
Whoa, no.
I think Solar will take a game off. Maybe Tyler gets fed or something. But I think in the end, LBB wins the series.
Hey, Joe, I have one question to ask you.
Okay.
Joe, I think it was Beshrin. He told Kardi that we could rename
Oh no.
Trash Talk if we won finals. Does that still hold true?
Who said
I
that?
don't remember. I have never heard this.
I'll go find it.
I saw it. I
was
remember it.
100%
I
true.
Don't-
Josh saw
I,
it. It was
I don't
100
remember this, so no comment.
Who was it, Toddy, that said it?
I'm pretty sure.
Beshrin, I'm already looking for it.
I know we got a
One of the
screenshot of
admins.
it
That
somewhere.
sounds like something he'd say.
It sounds like-
he is a joke.
That sounds
Because
like some
Kardi
random
was
thing.
complaining like, man, I don't want to play in this league. There's no prize. And then Beshrin said, you want a prize? Here you go.
I could see
Yeah,
Best
that's-
saying
I
that,
can see
honestly.
Best saying that. I like
It's
that.
like the story of how I got Merit 5.
I know.
Because
What,
you got a
what'd you
rare
give up
drop
for
in
it?
RuneScape. He like
Wait, I
because
can't
I was
say
I
that
was
on the air.
memeing about Merit 5 and
This is a
then-
good podcast.
my
he was I was memeing about Merit 5 and then he's like, yo, if I get like the super rare drop in RuneScape, I'll give you Merit 5.
I've heard
And I'm like,
that.
okay. And I went to bed and woke up and he got the drop and I had Merit 5.
This is against all Risen rules, by the way. Merit 5 is earned.
All right, Dallas.
For
what's
a
your,
week.
Hey, I think I deserve
What's
it.
your
All right,
prediction?
so my prediction. So, I love my sister team. Don't get me wrong, but when we scrim them, we hard shit on them both games. They
Disclaimer,
FF,
I was not
they-
playing.
Watch your
they-
language.
sorry, we poo pooed on them. They FF'd both games at 20, which was obnoxious trying to get practice. We only were able to take one game off of them, and Solar was really bad when we played them, so I'm gonna go 3-0 for my boys.
All right.
Alright, I'm sorry,
3-0 for the
Dallas, but
bad
I'm gonna
boys.
have to counterfute that with the fact that first off, I wasn't playing there, and second
You
off,
can't
Tyler wasn't playing.
counterfeud
I
my
don't think.
prediction.
I
I
also
can't,
want to.
but I can counterfute your opinion.
I just want to
I
say
feel
scrim
like Solar
results
looks way
low.
better now than then.
Also, scrim
I mean,
results low.
I still honestly think Lunar is better than Solar, because they got a.
I mean, that's not the argument, but that's fine.
I don't understand how they got that lucky of a playoff run.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Those are
still,
both new
lost
we're
in-
still talking about a 1-5 team versus a team that didn't drop a game all
Ye-
year.
Yeah,
That's not true, we lost two games.
they've lost 2 games, 1 in playoffs.
In
Or two,
playoffs.
both
Two-
in
no, two in
playoffs.
playoffs.
Both in playoffs, and only 1 in each game.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
we're gonna.
change my prediction to 3-1, please.
Who? Cardi?
Kardi.
Okay.
Yeah,
3-1.
No
we just lose a
confidence,
game
beta.
every single playoff. So
Uh,
Beta.
Just
that's
get me
fair.
my 2K Travy bucks and let's move on.
Alright.
Crazy.
Crazy
bucks.
English is clearly this man's first language.
Travy bugs.
But I
Alright,
think
Alright,
my
thanks.
opinion is
Wrap it up.
pretty true.
All right. Thanks,
Mhm.
guys. Thanks for joining me. This will be. I'll put it on YouTube tomorrow sometime so people can watch it before finals. Anyone that missed it. And thanks to Neversaw for doing all the stats. I forgot to say at the beginning that he did all the
Oh,
stats
God.
manually.
I
Thank you
spent,
so
like,
much.
5 hours from
Yeah.
8 o'clock this morning, and I
Beast.
was
I
finished at
appreciate
like
it.
2. But
Yeah, it was.
now,
It was.
instead of having inflated stats and incorrect stats,
They're all correct.
we have good stats. That's why I'm a record staff.
That we didn't even use.
Hey, we talked about this. Well, I talked about some of the stats.
Oh, can I speak actually a bit about the stats before we close this off? Because I did have
Sure.
a few cool things about it.
Yeah.
So first off, for impressive stuff, between the two teams, the longest game between the two was our team versus EBG. We had a 64-minute game.
Oh God.
There was so much farm and gold and stuff everywhere, and funnily enough, our ADC Count Riaria had the highest damage in the game and overall between both teams at 73,700.
Hey, I have a quick
Um,
question.
Sure.
Was that the one game that y'all won the whole without FFs during the regular season?
No, that was our second
Todd,
series
you're
against them. The
so
first one we
toxic.
smashed hard, but like the second series was a slugfest and a half because neither team could figure out what the hell they were doing, and in the end, we just threw.
Wait,
it
weren't we your second
So-
series?
No, I mean like second time playing that team. The first time was our only
Oh.
win. As for some other things, Kardi came in with the highest KDA at 6.04, despite also playing every single match at 23 games. So congrats on that one, Kardi.
See why I'm gonna be the only player with 300 supports this season?
Should have had a ban for a game.
300 supports.
Should have been
No,
banned.
300 assists.
No, he didn't do anything to get banned.
Remember when Kardi was suspended, but he didn't have to sit out any games? That was fun.
Yeah, remember when I used money as power?
I do remember.
Wait, you did that? What?
Can I take my vote back about Kardi? He's a KDA player. I don't like him.
No, that's okay. I'm a
He
KDA
hon-
player
he
too. It's
honestly
alright.
is.
Didn't we already
honestly
discuss how his KDA is higher than his wards per game?
Wait a second, that's not true. I placed like 40 wards a
Imagine
game.
having less than 6 words per game.
When your support
Wait.
has more assists than wards, yeah.
I
Probably.
mean,
no,
if I had to guess, he probably only buys like 2 control wards a game.
no, I buy a lot actually.
He
I
doesn't
buy
even
them
know what
off
they
of like
look
every
like.
single back.
But he doesn't use them. He just goes back and sells them when he needs a slot.
Yeah.
Alright.
Lies.
I think
I
that
think this is
was most of the stats stuff. I don't think there was anything else like particularly outstanding other than the fact that those games and the stupidly high damage. Let me just do a quick check through.
Oh, do you know what the fastest
I
game
think
was?
that's it. The fastest game?
Yeah.
If you give me 1 minute here, I
Us versus
can pull up
FTD.
the stats. I think it would
Do you-
be
do you already
guys. I think
know?
it was against FTD.
Oh, he knows.
Didn't they just FF?
No, it's probably
Oh, okay.
CRs, LLB,
One
and B
team-
first
okay,
week.
so I don't have the exact seconds because I had to convert everything like 60
Yeah, no worries.
dumb stuff. 21.65 minutes against FTD.
Damn.
See, called it.
Followed up by a 21.8 in the first game. You guys beat them in under 22 minutes twice in a row.
Yeah, they were. This is
Um,
why.
and-
This is why I got banned. Cause it's so bad. It was ridiculous.
Hey, remember when Bliss and Viper was on our team? Good days.
Long live Bliss and Viper.
Bliss.
Hey, you remember when Roshi was on our team? Yikes.
Viper, still best flounce in Risen history.
Alright, guys.
Oh,
I'm gonna.
that's
I'm gonna.
the
I'm gonna
last
wrap.
thing.
Oh, okay.
Let
Let's
him
see.
let
One
him wrap
last
it up.
thing.
One
I
last
found
thing.
it. So overall between the two teams, LLB and V played 23 games so far this season, while RMTS has played 20. LLB and V has spent 713 minutes and 713.61 minutes on the Rift with an average game time of 31.03 minutes.
Ew.
Craigasm.
And that's compared to my teams, which spent 711.89 minutes on the Rift with an average game time of 35.59 minutes.
Mind you, that's with 4 FFs.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Some longer
a lot of FFs.
1 and 5.
Okay, good. We're gonna wrap it
Plus-
up.
Plus a
So that
60-minute game.
cool stats.
Can I
stuff.
wrap it up?
Yeah. Can you say thank you to everyone that joined?
Yeah.
Their names.
Thank you for attending. Thank you for all being here. You know, long live Bliss
you
and
for-
Viper. May their souls live in peace.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Thank you, Dallas, Hbrwhammer, Kardi, Joe, Neversaw, Toddy. Thanks for joining.
Yay.
Thanks
No
for that.
problem.
Yeah.
I didn't get flamed
Thank
at the end.
you.
Yay.
Yay. Okay.
Oh,
Everyone.
I forgot to
Everyone.
flame
Toddy,
Toddy. New
everyone-
segment.
Everyone say bye as I hit end stream.
Bye.